Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. This is Abdel Jabbar from the Grandstream support team here in Boston. In today's webinar, obviously, we will talk about the new Grandstream UCM6300 series ecosystem, which includes mobility, security, video conferencing, and several other collaboration tools. And today we will primarily focus on the technical elements of the ecosystem and explain how you can use these tools available on the UCM 6300 series. We did a webinar a couple of weeks ago from the marketing team. You can always go back and watch that webinar. It provides some insights about the product, but as I mentioned today, it's going to be specifically about the technical aspects of the UCM ecosystem. So before I get started, if you guys have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to submit them using the Q&A button. You can use the group chat for general discussion, but for any question related to this presentation or today's topic, please make sure you use the Q&A button. So this is going to be the agenda for today. So we're just going to go quickly over the UCM 6300 models and talk a little bit about their specifications. Then we're going to dive into the UCM 6300 ecosystem and explain how it works, and also explain how remote connection works using the UCM and GDMS. And we will have a live demo and I'm going to show you how you pair the UCM with GDMS and how you can register devices to the UCM using the remote connection option. All right, so before we dive into the UCM 6300 series ecosystem, I would like to briefly introduce the UCM 6300 models and highlight the main differences between the models and what makes them different from the UCM 6200 or 6510. So the first thing that you should have noticed is the new look and design for these two models, and I mean 6301 and 6302. The touch screen menu is located on the top, which makes it convenient to navigate when the device is wall mounted. In addition, the UCM 6300 is built on Asterisk version 16 compared to Asterisk version 13 used by the UCM 6200. So why is this important? Because Asterisk version 16 introduced some improvements to the video quality with WebRTC applications. It now supports two intelligent routing mechanisms that are used to avoid network congestion and packet loss. And for those who are curious about these two mechanisms, the first one is REMB, is REMB, which stands for Receiver Estimated Maximum Bitrate, and it is used to communicate the available bandwidth in the network to the sender so that the sender can adjust the bitrate of the video encoding. And the second one is NAC, basically it means negative acknowledgement, is used to notify the sender of lost packets so that the sender can resend or retransmit those lost packets. Also, ASUS 16 has enabled certain configuration parameters to be accessible through the AMI. So this is a good news for installers and administrators who like to have access to the Asterisk management interface. So enough of Asterisk 16. Now let's look at the models. So the first model is the UCM 6301. This one comes with one FXS, one FXO port, and dual Ethernet ports. We basically kept the same network settings on these models, so you can use it for route mode, switch mode, and dual mode. In terms of the memory, we increased the size of the flash memory. We basically doubled the size of the flash memory. So now you have 1 GB RAM and 32 GB flash memory on these models. The 6301 has a maximum user capacity of 500 users. The 6302 can support up to 1,000 users. And when I say 1,000 users, I mean 1,000 extensions. 6301 can support up to 75 concurrent calls. So in case you are using SRTP, and for those who don't know what SRTP is, basically it means encrypted audio. So when you decide to encrypt your audio, the number will go down from 75 to 50. For the 6302, the concurrent calls is 150. With SRTP, you get 100 concurrent calls. For voice conferencing, you can have up to 75 participants on the 6301, and on the 6302, you can have up to 100 participants. Another thing why you see that the number of concurrent calls, the number of users has increased because we increased the size of memory, the flash memory, which is now twice or more than twice the size of the memory. We also use a more powerful CPU processor or processor. In the previous, or not the previous, the UCM6200, we use the dual core processors. In these models, we use 4 or quad core processors. On the bigger model, we use even a bigger or more powerful CPU. So one of the major enhancements in this UCM 6300 is the inclusion of video conferencing. So we're trying to move, not to move, but to add some collaboration tools to the UCM. So now with the 6300, you can actually host video conferencing calls on the UCM. And the number of participants depends on the model you're going to be using. So for 6301, you can have up to 12 participants and 2 rooms for video conferencing. With the 6302, you can have up to 20 participants and 3 rooms. So when using video conferencing, depending also again on the plan that you have on the RemoteConnect, you can have, with the basic one, I believe you can have up to 4 1080 feeds with 1 screen sharing. That one basically should say SS, not SC. Sorry about the typo. So these are the other models. These are rack mountable PBX devices. So these, they have large size of memory, 4 gigabyte RAM and 120 gigabytes flash memory. For the 6304, you can have up to 2,000 users. 6308, you can have up to 3,000 users. And in terms of concurrent calls, the 6304 supports 300 concurrent calls and 450 concurrent calls for the UCM 6308. Also, the number of participants in the voice and video conferencing calls also increases. Now let me go back here. So the major component of the UCM 6300 ecosystem is RemoteConnect service, which is offered through GDMS. And for those of you who don't know GDMS, GDMS is the Grandstream cloud-based provisioning platform that allows you to provision, manage, monitor, and also troubleshoot Grandstream devices. There are 3 easy steps involved to integrate or add your UCM 6300 to your GDMS account. So if you already have an account, you just add the device. If you don't, you can go to gdms.cloud and you can sign up for free account. It's free service, and you can add the UCM. And basically the way you add the UCM is the same way. For those of you who are familiar with GDMS, you basically use the MAC address and the serial number associated with the UCM. And once you enter that information, GDMS will pair with the UCM automatically. Then it's going to assign it a domain name that I'm going to show you. And then from once it is paired and the connection is established, which is secure connection between the UCM and the GDMS, then you can start managing the UCM from the web interface of GDMS. And this is something that I'm going to show you so we can look at the things that you can do from GDMS to manage your UCM. So there are many benefits to enabling remote connect on the UCM and the GDMS. And the first one being the automated NAT firewall traversal. And this service allows users to seamlessly communicate remotely from external networks without the need to go to the firewall and create rules or do any port forwarding. And as you can see in the diagram, with Remote Connect, all the traffic goes through GDMS. And GDMS basically creates a secure connection with the UCM to relay the traffic through. And also the connection with GDMS and the endpoint is also encrypted using TLS. And when we go through the configuration of the IP phones, you would notice that we must enable TLS for the phones to register to GDMS Remote Connect. So this is a very secure solution. It makes it easier to deploy devices, so you don't have to go to the firewall router and mess up with the rules, especially in cases where you deploy the UCM but you don't have access to the networking devices because it's managed by a different person or different company. So this one just makes it so easy. You don't have to touch the firewall. It's an automatic process. And as you can see in the picture, there are three services involved in that automatic firewall traversal. We have stun, which I believe most of you are familiar with. Then we have turn and ice. So as I mentioned, you might already be familiar with stun or session traversal utility for NAT, which is used by an endpoint device to discover its public IP address when it is located behind NAT. So in certain environments, and especially where symmetric NAT is being used, the router or the firewall would still block the endpoint from receiving the media. So when stun by itself does not solve the issue, especially in network environments with symmetric NAT, which does not only translate the IP address from private to public, but it also translates ports. For instance, if you use local port number 5004 for RTP, when the RTP traffic goes through the router will change the port to a different port number. And this is when the media endpoints needs to connect through a server implementing turn. And turn basically stands for traversal using relay around NAT. It's a long name, which is an extension to stun, and it works with stun. And it allows media traversal because of the thing that we just mentioned. So to explain this with an example, as you already know, the signaling packets like SIP, for example, includes the IP address and the, excuse me, includes, I was saying includes the IP address and the port number that will be used for media. So the remote party will use that information in the signaling packets. And when it sends the media traffic through the firewall will reject the media traffic. And when I say media, I mean audio and video. So these two services, stun and turn, are becoming very crucial when using WebRTC applications. And I do believe most WebRTC applications now do support them because that's what makes them work seamlessly. And another example is the Grandstream Wave Web that we're going to look into also uses these protocols to bypass the firewall rules. So when you go to the UCM and you enable remote connect on the UCM and the GDMS, the UCM will automatically use the stun and turn services built into GDMS. So you do not have to go online and search for servers that provide such services, because GDMS will send that information automatically to the UCM. The third standard that is involved in the process is ICE. It's ICE and stands for Interactive Connectivity Establishment. And it is a framework that enhances the work of both stun and turn to provide reliable connection to relay the media. And the way ICE works, just to explain it in a simple words, it sends multiple requests to the stun server using multiple pairs of IP address and port number as the source. And the stun server will respond back to the endpoint device with those responses, like the stun responses, and ICE will use that information to build what we call the ICE candidates. It's like a list of pairs of IP address and port numbers uh, that are basically communicated in the stun responses. And from that list, ICE decides which pair of IP address and ports to use based on which one is, excuse me, which one is more reliable. So later during the live demo, I will show you how to register remote devices through RemoteConnect and show you where you can set up those and settings, also, and show you exactly what type of stun server and turn server GDMS sends to the UCM. So this is I tried to explain it in simple words. If you want to go read more about it, there are a lot of RFCs related to these standards, ICE, turn, and stun. They give you plenty of information so you can understand how it works. It is very secure. It doesn't mean that we bypass your firewall uh, by making it less secure, but these are secure standards that happens in the background. It's like when you try to access a website using HTTPS from behind the firewall. Once you make that connection outside, that connection becomes an established connection, and that's how the firewall allows incoming traffic back to your endpoint devices sitting behind the firewall. The other options, so we talked about IP phones, how you can use them with RemoteConnect. The other components that we added to the UCM 6300 ecosystem is the Grandstream Wave Web. This is a client application uh, accessed with the web browser to participate in audio and video conferencing. You can also use it to share screen and make calls via WebRTC. So this is, you can call it, it is actually a WebRTC application. And during the live demo, I'm going to show you how you can access it and talk about the features available from this application using your browser. The second component that we added to the UCM ecosystem is the Grandstream Wave. Some of you might be familiar with the Grandstream GS Wave Lite, the mobile application. So now there is a new application. It's called the Grandstream Wave, and it works with the UCM 6300. You can install it on your iOS or Android mobile devices. And it provides remote voice and video collaboration tools for users connected to UCM 6300 series. It pairs with the UCM RemoteConnect to ensure fully secure, because the traffic is all encrypted without automated net. And I know that a lot of people, they experience a lot of issues with using soft phones with the UCM, and there's always this issue that you can't have a static IP for the GS Wave because it's a mobile device. So you just go to the firewall and you open the port for all the traffic coming on that specific port, so you can allow remote devices to register. So with the Grandstream Wave and RemoteConnect, you don't need to make those changes on the firewall because the Grandstream Wave will talk to the GDMS, and GDMS is going to use the RemoteConnect service to send that information or to talk to the UCM. Uh, so when you pair the UCM with GDMS, you basically create secure connection between the UCM and GDMS, and all the traffic, the endpoint like remote users, they talk to GDMS, and then GDMS sends the traffic to the UCM through that secure uh, connection. So this is a very powerful thing. It's similar to the way SBC works, but the benefit of using RemoteConnect, or the advantage of RemoteConnect, is that all the traffic is secure. So it's encrypted, so nobody can have access or sniff on the traffic going from the endpoint to GDMS, and then from GDMS to the UCM. The GS Wave WebRTC application is fully integrated with the Grandstream USB headset, the GOV3000. It is a USB headset. You can also use the same headset with IP phones and other devices to offer high quality sound. All right, so with RemoteConnect, so when you add the UCM to your GDMS and you enable RemoteConnect, as I mentioned, GDMS is going to assign a URL to the UCM that remote users can use to talk to the UCM. And you can use the same URL to remotely access the web interface of the UCM. I'm going to show you this during the live demo. So when the GDMS administrator, like now with the current situation with the UCM6200, you have to go to the firewall and you need to create a rule for with port forwarding on port 8089 or whatever port you're using for web access. With RemoteConnect, you don't need that at all. You can just leave all the ports closed, and through the secure connection from the UCM to the GDMS, administrators will be able to access the web interface of the UCM through GDMS. And there are many things that you can do once you create or you pair the UCM to GDMS. You can monitor the UCM. You can schedule tasks like upgrade, reboot. Another advantage that is used with GDMS and the UCM 6300 is the cloud storage. So now the GDMS offers you, depending on which plan you have, you can have access to the storage on the cloud. So when you do backup of the UCM, you can back up the system on GDMS, and then from GDMS you can download it to your local directory, like on your computer, for example, or USB drive. And also it provides you with an icon that just by clicking on that icon, it's going to take you to the web interface of the UCM, so you can have direct access to all the features from the web interface of the UCM. It also provides you with call statistics, so you can monitor the calls that were made. It's like the same thing with like CDR, but it's provided in a way that you can use it for like with graphs, so you can have an idea about the traffic flow and the time. So as I mentioned, there are plenty. There are 4, I believe, plans for the RemoteConnect on the UCM. So when you purchase the UCM for the first time and you pair it with your GDMS account for the first time, GDMS is gonna give you a beta plan that you can use for a specific period of time. I believe it's like 6 months. And it includes some features like the automated net firewall traversal. So once you pair it, you're gonna have access to that service. The other options also is it allows you to have up to 32 remote users connected through GDMS. And I'm talking about remote, which means the ones that are going to be using that are going to talk to the UCM through GDMS using the URL that I'm going to show you during the live demo. And for other uses like internal extensions or the one that are registering to the UCM, like the same way we do it right now, like with port 5060 using the SIP, that's different. It's not included in that number. Then you will have access to 5 gigabytes on your cloud account that you can use to store your backups, recording, and many other things. So these are the 4 plans. There's the basic plan. So after the beta plan expires, your account will automatically um, convert to basic plan. So depending on how many users you want to have, how many concurrent sessions of voice and video calls you want to have, these parameters decide which plan you want to go for. So for the basic plan, so when the beta plan expires and you get the basic plan, you still have access to the automated NAT firewall traversal, but some other options that you're not going to have access to is like accessing the web interface of the UCM from GDMS. So in that case, you need to upgrade to one of the plans, silver, gold, or platinum. And the basic plan is what you're going to have for always. It's like once it expires, the beta plan expires, you're always going to have the basic plan. All right, so let's go to do some configuration using GDMS and the UCM. So I'm going to log into my GDMS account first. So let me go back here. So when you purchase the UCM or you receive your UCM 6300, again, this option works only with the UCM 6300. It's not going to work with the UCM 6200. So if you receive your UCM 6300, you can go to PBX device. It's a very simple process. As you can see, I already have one added here. And the way to add the UCM, you just go to add device. You give it a name. To information details that you need the MAC address and the matching serial number of your UCM. Then you can choose which site you would like to assign it to. Save and apply. Once you save and apply, the UCM or GDMS is going to talk to the UCM to build that secure connection. Then you will have your UCM displayed this way. You can have multiple UCMs, by the way. For example, I haven't purchased a plan, so it's showing open beta, and it tells you when it is going to expire right here. So this one is going to expire in April. I think they're using the other way, January the 4th, 2021, and it gives me 5 gigabytes of cloud storage. So when this beta expires, it's going to go back to basic plan. And basic plan, again, it doesn't provide you with remote access, which means it doesn't give you this option right here that allows you to have remote access to your PBX from the GDMS. So now that we created this one, it's going to give us this option. I'm going to come back later and talk about these. So this is the icon. If you click on that one, it's going to take you to the web interface of the UCM. And as you can see here, the access time limit is 1 hour. This is not a limitation. It is a security option that we added to GDMS. So after 1 hour, when it expires, you just need to go back here again and click on this icon to reopen the web interface of the UCM. So I'm going to log in. Just cancel that one. So the thing I want to look at is UCM RemoteConnect. So once you add it to your GDMS profile, if you come back here, you're going to see that GDMS assigned the UCM a URL that you can use to access the UCM remotely. I'm sorry, for the phones to register to the UCM remotely, and also for the GS Wave WebRTC application to access the application so you can start making and receiving calls. So I'm going to come back to this information right here together with this port so I can show you how you can use it, because that's what we're going to use on the remote devices to register to the UCM. So I'm going to copy this one. Then I'm going to go back here to GDMS. So once this device is paired, what's going to happen if you go to SIP servers here, you will notice that the UCM automatically sync its information with GDMS. It's like it populates automatically here. As you can see, we have one link for TLS, one link for TCP, and one link for UDP. The reason we have three of them because I have TLS, TCP, and UDP enabled. So if you only have UDP enabled, you're only going to see UDP. And these we use the regular ports 5060, 5060, and 5061. So for users, if you want to assign extensions from GDMS to users to connect through these ports, these are the UCM addresses that you can use. But in case you want to use the GS Grandstream Wave WebRTC application, or the Grandstream Wave, the application on iOS and Android, you need to create a new link. So if you go back here, we need to add one using this link right here. That's what I mean. So this information, we need to add a new server on GDMS using that link. So when we assign it to remote users that are going to talk to GDMS or that are going to use RemoteConnect, that's the link that we need to assign them. So we're going to go back here, then we're going to paste that link. You can give it any name. You can call it, for example, UCM WebRTC. Okay. Another thing, when you paste the link, you must add this port. All right, so 1091. So I'm going to add it as 1091 here. And then for NAT traversal, we're going to set that one to stun, because we want the devices to use stun to talk to RemoteConnect on GDMS. And you can add the other information. What else we have here? So you can add, for example, for voicemail star 97. And from here, save and apply those changes. Let me go back here and see what other options we have here. So we don't need nothing of that. So I'm just gonna save the changes. So now we have the UCM added to GDMS using this link right here. And when you have SIP accounts, so let's say, so these are the extensions, by the way, from the same UCM, they sync automatically. So if you go, let me go back here to the UCM so I can show you something. So this option, I believe it's enabled automatically. So when you have it enabled automatically, all the extensions on this UCM will sync automatically or will populate in your GDMS account. So for example, here, all of them are using the UDP ports. Let's say I have these three phones that I want them to use RemoteConnect. In other words, I want them to use that link that GDMS assigned to the UCM. Then I can select those extensions and modify the SIP server and choose this one right here for WebRTC. Okay, save and apply the changes. So these are all extensions from the same UCM, but you choose which link you want to assign to those users. And this is especially useful when you try to assign extensions to endpoint devices from GDMS. You can assign extensions from here. You can choose the device, for example. So let's select default. Okay. I can choose any of these devices from here and then assign it this account 2002. You can do it from here, or you can go to device and then you can access one of your endpoint devices. And then you can go to account settings and then you can select the accounts that you would like to assign to them. So this is how you assign accounts to SIP endpoint devices from the GDMS. So save and apply the changes. Again, if you want to use RemoteConnect so you don't have to go through the firewall, you must create a SIP server using the link that was assigned to the UCM. Let me go back here again. And there, UCM RemoteConnect. You just copy that information and this port number. You can have access to the same link if you go under device, PBX device. And if you go to device details, not this one, not that one, edit device. You can copy that link from here, but what you're going to need is the port number. And by the way, the link, the UCM uses the MAC address of the UCM plus a random number to generate the link or the URL for the UCM. In case you would like to customize that one, it's very simple. For example, if I want to give it my name, I can just call it ajbar.a.gdms.cloud, save and apply. Once I do that, once I change the URL, I need this one will change automatically. That's number one. And number two, it's going to change right here and the SIP server that we just created. So this one is not going to be working anymore. Okay, so if you have devices using this link and you do the configuration manually, you will need to change the URL to the new one. So let me cancel that one. In case also you own a domain and you want to use that domain name, you can also enter the domain name, enter the private key and the public key, and then it's going to start using your domain name. Let me go back here to the UCM so we can talk about, we talked earlier about the video conferencing. I'm still going to go back to GDMS so I can show you how you can add IP phones to register to the UCM. So video conferencing, as I mentioned during the presentation, is one of the components that we added to the UCM to make it collaboration solution instead of phone solution. So here you can create multiple video conferencing rooms depending on which plan you have. So when you create the conference room, you just assign it an extension, then a password if you want users to enter the password. Then there's the moderator code. So in case you are the moderator, to moderate so you can have access to add users, to record. Basically, it's like the administrator of the conference call. You need to have this number right here because when you, I'm going to show you later during GS Wave, when you try to call this video conference room. Let's try it now. Let's go back here. So if I dial, for example, 63, it's going to ask for the camera, okay. Then it's going to ask you, do you want to join this video conference as a participant or as a moderator? If you choose moderator, it's going to ask you to enter the moderator code, which is this code right here that you create when you create the conference room. All right, so now we paired the UCM, we created the extensions. What are the other options that we still have? The other one is the GS Wave WebRTC application. And the way you can access this device is by using the link automatically to access the web application, which is, let me go back here, which is the link that was assigned in the UCM. So you basically put it in your browser, then you will have access to the Wave app. Or the other option is you can click on this one, Grandstream Wave, then it's going to take you to the same page. So this is the Wave WebRTC application. So when you, to log in, let me go back here. All right. So when it gives you this page, to have access to the application, you enter the extension number and then the SIP password associated with that extension number. So let me go back here one more time. So I can show you which password I'm talking about. So let's say, for example, I'm using extension 1004. So if I would like to connect using the WebRTC application, the username I need to type in the extension number, which is 1004, and then the password is whatever password I have here. So I just need to copy and paste and then include that information to log in to Wave. So once you log in, you will be presented with this information here. It's going to show you your account. For example, this is 1001. For the contacts, because we have LDAP enabled at the extension level, so all the contact information from the LDAP server will be synced automatically to this extension, so you can have access to the contacts from the WebRTC application. You can also use meetings. You can create meetings. You can join meetings. For example, if I want to schedule a meeting, I can select the room. Of course, you need to have video conference rooms created here first. So once you create these rooms, if you have two, you're going to see two rooms here. So you can choose which room you want to use. Then you give it a subject, the time, password if you want to make it a private conference call or video call. You can enter the password so that only the users with the password will be able to join the conference call, the moderator code. And here you can choose the extension. For example, if I select 1001, then once I call that conference room from 1001, I'm going to be the moderator. And then here you can add the extensions that I would like to add. So let's say I'm using 5003, then I can add as many extensions as I want. Save and apply. You can also use the option to meet now. So when you click on it, you can call the conference call immediately. If you want to call extensions, external numbers, you just go to the keypad and you dial the extension that you would like to call. The other options that you have here is my QR code. So let's say you installed the Grandstream Wave on your iOS or Android phone, and you want to add the account to your iOS, like the application on your mobile phone. You just go to the application, there's a scan option, and then you scan the QR code, then you save and apply the account on your Grandstream Wave. The account settings, so when you click on that one, it's going to take you to the user portal. And for those of you who are familiar with the user portal, you know that each user can have access to their portal where they have access to their recordings, voicemails, where they can customize their voicemail greetings, where they can enable follow me. These are the voicemail where they can read and delete voicemails. They can also use this interface to make some other stuff like extensions, CDR, like the information related. They can change the login. So this is the user portal. Once you click on this account setting from here, it's going to take you to the user portal. Again, this application supports video. You can make video calls from the WebRTC application. The next thing that I want to talk about is how you can register IP phones to the UCM through the RemoteConnect. So as you can see here, I already have one extension registered. And if I go back here, I'm going to talk about the requirements to register remote devices through RemoteConnect. Of course, you must use the link together with the port number 1091. Again, if you go to the UCM RemoteConnect, you must use the port that is used right here on the UCM, okay? And copy this link and then go to SIP server paste the link, and then use the port number. If you customize this link, that's the link that you're going to need to use. Save and apply. Another step that you need to configure, because as I mentioned, the connection is secure, you must enable TLS. If you just leave it as a default UDP, the account will not register. So you must enable TLS on the IP phone. The other one that I want to talk about is you go to network settings. As you can see, I have it set to auto, and the registration is fine. But for those who are familiar with stun, we don't use stun for signaling. We use it for media. Okay. So sometimes you might see the account registered. You can make and receive calls, but you will have issues with video or audio. If that's the case, and I would suggest you do that all the time because it doesn't hurt. Set that one to stun, okay? So once you set the NAT traversal for the account to stun, make sure you go to settings. I believe it's under general setting, and you need to add the stun server. The stun server that you're gonna add there, you're gonna get it from the UCM as well. And one thing to be careful with is sometimes different UCMs might have different URL for the stun. So just so you can make it easy for yourself, just copy the information here and then add it to the phone right here. Save and apply the information. It's going to ask you to reboot, then just click on reboot. So you can do this information from the phone, like using the web interface of the phone, or you can do it from the GDMS. You can create a model template, or you can go to the specific device that you would like to assign the remote extension through RemoteConnect. For example, if we're looking for, oh yeah, I already have that one set. You can set, for example, stun server here enabled, then copy the stun server from the UCM, and also make sure you set the keep alive to stun. So these are the only changes. Yeah, also SIP settings. If you go to transport, where's the transport here? The transport SIP settings, it must be TLS. Again, if you only use UDP, it is not going to work because RemoteConnect uses encryption. So you need, or you must have TLS enabled at the extension level. Save and apply. You can create a template for that in case you have multiple phones, like remote phones, let's say like 20 or 30. Create a template, and each time you select the group phones, you can assign a template to all these phones, so you don't have to go to each phone and add those changes. Other things that you can do from the with the GDMS, if we go here to the PBX, and I didn't talk more about that, there are a lot of things that you can do. You can upgrade your UCM from the GDMS account. You can reboot it from here. You can also delete the device from here. I talked earlier about the PBX backup. You can back up the UCM configuration to the to your GDMS account. So once you have it paired, if you go to maintenance, backup. So when you click on backup to create a backup of the system, the UCM is going to give you the option GDMS cloud storage. Do you want to upload the backup to your GDMS account? So once you select that one and you click on backup, the backup will be accessible from here. So every time you make a backup, it's going to show up right here. Then from here, you can restore the backup to the UCM in case you want to do a backup restore. I believe I covered the most of the components of the UCM 6300 ecosystem. So we only have a few more minutes. So I'm just going to go to the Q&A section and see if you guys have any questions. And I see there are a lot of questions here. Hopefully we can go through all of them today. So James is asking, will this be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded, and I believe the recording is taking place now. So after we end this presentation, I'm going to send it to the to our team so they can upload it to our YouTube channel. You just go to the Grandstream Network YouTube channel, and then you will have access to it. I believe it should be available either today afternoon or tomorrow morning. David is asking, does the UCM 6300 boot in switch or route mode, and is this selectable on the unit control display? The UCM, if you go back here, I think that one is in default settings, and just someone made some changes. I believe it's going to keep the same principle of route mode. So if we go here, I think someone changed that one. Definitely someone changed it. So the default setting is going to be route mode. So you're going to have to use the WAN port of the UCM to connect it. So let me go back here, status dashboard. Jose is asking, by email, Grandstream announced a new soft phone to be launched at the same time UCM 6300 series was. Any calendar availability for Spain? No distributor offer this product at this moment. Um, we're talking here, Jose, we're talking about two GS Wave applications. We're talking about the WebRTC application. The WebRTC, as I mentioned, you can simply access the WebRTC application using the link of this one right here. Let me go back again. You can use this link right here to access the WebRTC application of the UCM. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you just use the extension number together with the SIP password so you can log in and start making and receiving calls. The second application is called Grandstream Wave. It's not Wave Lite, it's a Grandstream Wave. If you go to your app store, you're gonna find it there. You can download it for trying to register automatically. If not, you can use this link to get a port number and this to register the UCM. David is asking, can we disable user portal whenever give that? David, probably that's future request. Yeah, that's a good idea. Uh, let me try. Yeah, I will get back to you on that one and see if there is a work around it, so I can send it to your email. Another user is asking what might be the issue. I'm using Wave app through RemoteConnect. If I call the extension from external, Wave on smartphone rings, but I'm connected. No matter if I use internal wires or 4G network, in this way all works perfectly, but I want to call. Uh, I believe, I don't think you are referring to RemoteConnect. Okay, if you are using Wave Lite, the other application, and you're using the your domain, FQDN domain, or you're using your public IP address to register to the UCM, and you try to make calls from GS Wave to an external number, there is one setting that I would recommend for you to enable here. It's under TOS, RTP keep alive. You can set that one to no. I'm sorry, to 1. Save and apply those changes. The purpose of having this option right here, because when you call from Wave Lite, again, this does not apply to Grandstream Wave. Grandstream Wave uses a different communication with the UCM. So in case you are using the soft phone Wave Lite, and you're trying to call from an outside network through the UCM and then call an external number, the call would get established, but you would have no audio. It's like a dead air. If that's the case, make sure you come here, set that one to 1, save, and apply the changes. And that's going to solve the issue with the audio. Robert is asking, I'm new to Grandstream as a technician. What does the stun server do? Also, is RemoteConnect available for the term of the purchase of Grandstream UCM? Again, RemoteConnect is available. Once you purchase a UCM 6300 and you pair it with your GDMS account, RemoteConnect will be enabled automatically. Okay, so the NAT traversal uh, option that is built into GDMS and the UCM is available. So you don't have to purchase any plan for that one. But if you need additional services included with the UCM ecosystem, you need to upgrade to one of the plans. You can always go back to the Grandstream YouTube channel, and you can watch the video that was made by our marketing people that talks about the type of plans available. A stun server, as I mentioned, there's also a webinar I think that we did many times about how stun works. Stun basically is a protocol that allows the endpoint devices to talk to a stun server by sending a stun request message, and the stun server replies back to the endpoint devices with their public IP address. And that's how the endpoint devices sitting behind NAT know about their public IP address. And they use the public IP address to communicate with the server, to tell the server where to send the media traffic, I mean audio and video. Marty is asking where on the website does it discuss GDMS subscriptions? I believe if you click on this one here, if you click on services, and if you click on this one here, buy, no, I'm sorry. If you click on this one here, let me go back here again so I can show you. You go to plan, click services, it's going to show you this. If you click on more, it's going to take you to this web page where you can have access to all the information regarding RemoteConnect. Stan is asking, are we also going to find the detailed setup for UCM 6300? I believe the UCM documentation is already published on the website, and there are a lot of how-to guides. Let me go back here. If you go to 6300 ecosystem, so there's a lot of documentation here. I'm sure there's a lot of documentation. Let me go back to resources. Yeah, definitely there are documentation regarding everything that I talked about today. Oh, yes. David is asking a good question. He's asking, can I connect multiple UCMs via RemoteConnect? If so, does it support LDAP sync? That's a very good question, David. Okay, let's go back here. Where's the UCM? Okay, so when you have multiple UCMs and you want to connect them through RemoteConnect, let's say I want to pair this UCM with another UCM. So I'm going to go ahead and create a SIP trunk. Okay. And of course, I'm going to choose peer SIP trunk. And the information that I include here in the host name, I need to go back. I need to go to the other UCM and copy that information. Okay. Copy together with this port number and then create, let me go back here, VoIP trunks. So I'm going to copy the link, okay, of the UCM together with the port. I believe it's 1091. Yeah, I think it's 1091. Just call it remote UCM. Again, here you have to copy the URL of the remote UCM. All right. So once you do that, let's save and apply so we can have access to the advanced settings. Let me go back here again. Okay, so we use the link together with the ports. The other thing that we need to enable is TLS. Remember, Remote Connect can only understand encrypted traffic. If you send plain text traffic, the connection is not gonna get established. So you must select TLS here. And then if you go to advanced settings, of course, you're gonna have to do the same basic stuff like enable the heartbeat. And there's another option, ICE support. So this option, remember earlier during the presentation, I talked about ICE and how it works together, or how it enhances the work of stun and turn to provide you with the most reliable connection. So these are the two options that you need to check under advanced settings, save and apply the changes. All right, so I'm gonna cancel that one. I hope that answers your question. For LDAP setting, the other question was about LDAP. If we go under advanced setting, LDAP is going to work the same way. You do it with the regular SIP peer trunk. So you just need to configure the same password and configure and enable, of course, the sync LDAP, and that should sync the LDAP connection between the two UCMs. Robert is asking, do you know when this will be available for purchase? I believe it is already available. You just need to contact your distributor and to check with them if they have it in their warehouse. Because I know a lot of people, they're going to be receiving it this week. So just check with your distributor. It's 2 p.m. already. Uh, I see there are still other questions. Uh, we're still going to host another webinar where we're going to dive into the technical stuff and show you more examples. So just make sure you go to the Grandstream website so you can see the incoming or the upcoming webinars. Again, thanks everyone for attending today's webinar. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I hope to see you in one of the next webinars. And have a good one and stay safe.